All right, guys, so today we are going to get into the two quietest machines in the game, hands down. The JRL Ghost Clipper and the TPOB Play Clipper. Now, I will be including the Onyx Clipper for good measure because they're the same machine, just different colors. And technically, they are the Fresh Fade Hair Clipper model 2020C-B. But I'll be using the Ghost for most of the video because it's just the latest one. Now, these are two companies I haven't reviewed before. JRL stands for Just the Right Look, and TPOB, the Pissed Off Barber. I always like to give a quick overview for anyone who doesn't want to stick around or watch the details in the whole video, but I feel like this video, you might want to do that. But in case you can't, this really comes down to ergonomics and price. The TPOB Play has more of the traditional ergonomic clipper shape that you're used to. The JRL, a different type of shape, more expensive, but the motor kicks a little more on the JRL. But the TPOB Play you could get for like half the price. So if you had to make a choice, if you're not familiar with either one of these machines, get the TPOB Play. They always have crazy sales going on. I actually got this machine for $80. So that's the quick overview. But let's get into it, and we are going to start off with the blades on these machines. This is one of the most interesting parts, and I think this is what really helps this machine stay quiet and stay cool. So let's open them up and take a look. So let's start off with the stationary blade. JRL on the left, TPOB on the right. This is the Fade Precision blade. This is the Exo Fusion blade. Even when you flip it over, they look exactly the same. Now, you'll quickly notice all of the oil reservoirs, and you're only going to get this type of detail is when you do the metal injection molded process for making blades, which Babyliss has been promoting heavily. But JRL, to my knowledge, was the first one to do it, and they said they've been doing it since 2016. So this is probably as high end of a blade as you can get. Now it gets interesting when we get to the cutting blade. JRL on the left, TPOB on the right. If you notice the difference right here, the TPOB are different. The cutting teeth are different. They have 32 cutting teeth and the JRL has like 28. Why that makes a difference is because whenever you have less cutting teeth, it makes bigger gaps for the blade for the hair to come in and get chopped off easier. Whenever you have more cutting teeth, the gaps in between the teeth are tighter. That makes it harder for the hair to fall in between and get cut. It still cuts it, it just gives you more touch and finesse and detail when you're doing tricky parts of the fade. This makes it a little more forgiving and easier. Another interesting thing is this has blade reservoirs too on the cutting blade. You see it at the feet, you see it underneath the teeth, but these are ceramic blades, but I've never seen a ceramic blade this color. The ceramic blades I've seen in the past were white, and you could also just break them in your hand in half. I broke this one in half testing it. This is an Andis one. And ceramic blades like this were like 3D movies. They come around every now and then, people start using them, but nobody ever sticks with them. The difference with these is you can't break these like you can the white ones. You can't snap them. They're coated, and that makes them stronger and a little more durable. And that is probably another thing that adds to the quietness and the stay cool technology, because the benefits of ceramic is that it stays cool. The drawbacks of ceramic is that it dulls out faster and then it starts pulling the hair. And just to show you guys real quick, here's a magnet, picks up the Exo Fusion and picks up the JRL. But the ceramic ones, nothing. So definitely interesting stuff from these machines. So metal injection molded blade, super precise. You'll have better product consistency. They use that technique to make firearms and hospital equipment. So you add that consistency with the oil blade reservoirs on both blades. And it's a ceramic blade that stays cool. That's a stay cool technology, not a lot of friction, and it is also very quiet, and I think that's part of the reason. So let's put the blades back on and we'll move to the motor. Okay, so the JRL has a 2-speed motor that on the low setting is at 6,000 RPMs and the high setting is at 7,500 RPMs. Both have the smart chip technology, so it doesn't drag. TPOB has 2-speed motor as well. Runs at 6,000 RPMs on the low speed, 7,500 RPMs on the high speed, and we're going to test that right now. JRL Ghost on the low speed. So 5,800, let's try it on the high speed. $6,700, not near 7,500. But I do feel like some companies measure their RPMs before the motor has to move the blades. So I'm going to take the blades off again, and we're going to try this without the blades on. JRL Ghost, speed 1 with the blades off. So you see speed 1 with the blades off, we're getting 6,700. Let's try it on the high speed. Speed 2, blades off, JRL Ghost. $7,300. You can round that up to 7,500. So you're getting closer to that when you take the blades off, which I'm not surprised. TPOB play, low speed, blades on. So we're getting max 5,500. Let's see what it does on the high speed with the blades on. So we're getting 6,200, which again is nowhere near the 7,500, but let's take the blades off and see if the motor can perform close to those readings with the blades off. TPOB play, low speed, blades off. So on a low speed with the blades off, we're getting over 6,000. We're getting 6,400. Now let's try the TPOB with the blades off on the high speed. So you see we're getting up to 6,900. You can't get it to hit 7,500 even with the blades off. So let's move on and we'll talk about the battery. Now for all three of these machines, they say they have a max run time of the battery for 5 hours. You have to assume that that 5 hours was measured from it on the low setting of all these machines. You'll see it right here when you have it on the low setting. On the JRL, it will say 5 hours. And when you have it on the high setting, it goes to 4 hours. So we're going to test that too. Okay, so you see the JRL light is flashing, and once it goes steady, that means we have a full charge, and let's do our test. So we got 4 hours and 10 minutes. That's more than what we expected to get, which is great. And also that cool blade technology really works because these blades really stay cool. They didn't even feel that warm at all after 4 hours, 4 hours straight running. And I didn't put oil on them before the test started. I didn't put any cool care spray or anything like that on it. So definitely impressed with the JRL machine. And you'll see when I take it apart later, there's a Samsung battery in there, and they never mention that. But I think that might have something to do with that battery being quality and it really getting the runtime it's supposed to. Okay, so you see we have the TPOB play blinking green. That means it's still charging. Once we get that steady green, we could do our tests. Okay, let's go. So we got 2 hours and 48 minutes with the TPOB play on the high setting. I did both of these tests on the high setting because I feel like that's what the vast majority of us use. And testing how hot the blades were afterwards, the TPOB blades weren't hot. They were a little bit warmer than the JRLs, but the cool blade technology in both these machines work. And since we're talking about the battery, the JRL Onyx and Ghost both come with the same charging stand, just different colors. And what this charging stand does, this is equipped with Reset IQ technology. So basically what this does is when you put it on the charger and it's blinking green, it's going to drain your battery to 0 and then charge it up to 100. They recommend doing that once a week. And basically from leaving no standing charge in the battery and draining to 0 and giving it a fresh charge, it will prolong the life of the battery and make sure it's charging to 100% every time. When you press this button and it changes to white, that's on the fast charge. That's probably what you want to be using in the shop on a daily basis. Since we're talking about the battery and charging, this light here, you cannot see it on the JRL Ghost, but it's there. So for that reason alone, I would recommend the Onyx over the Ghost because you can't see the light. And also, I just want to show you guys something real quick because it's relevant to the battery. Here's the screen underneath the white case that you really can't see at all with the Ghost. It'll, even when it's below hours, it will show you the minutes. This is the plug for the charging indicator and also has this oil light sign. So when the clipper's been running for about an hour straight, that light should illuminate and tell you to oil your machine. All right, now let's talk about the body shape of these machines. Now, when I first saw the JRL, it looked like a machine that I would never use just because of the general shape. It looked like, to me, like a Russian nesting doll. Like, I'll open this up and there's another clipper in there. And then I'll open up that one and there's another clipper in after that one. So the shape visually was a turn off. But when I started using it, to roll it this easy was good, especially if you cut your own hair and you're rolling it and you have it in all different grips. And I might add that the Onyx and the Ghost has the indentations in the back to help hold the machine. But the bottom half of this, you see it's shinier and this is like a matte. The matte part is a little more grippy. But I would recommend getting the Onyx over the Ghost because you can see the light. It's not going to get as dirty in the shop. TPOB Play has more of the traditional body of a hair clipper that you're used to. It has a thumb indentation to hold. It has the finger indentations in the back. You also have more clearance with the click lever by the switch right here. Because one thing I've done on the JRLs was flick this down and accidentally turn it off. With the TPOB Play, you could do it too, but it's not as easy to do just because you have a little more clearance on the click lever if you notice. But when you talk about this click lever, nothing beats that JRL sound on the click lever. JRL has the better sounding flick lever. If you ask me, they are about the same size and length. Maybe the play is a little shorter. And when it comes to hanging them up, TPOB has a hook that slides out, which I like better. The JRL has a hook that flips out and it gets held down magnetically, and they both use the same charger. So that's pretty much the body. So let's weigh them and we're going to check that noise. Onyx, 9.9 ounces. Ghost, 9.9 ounces. TPOB Play, 10.2 ounces. So they're all pretty much the same weight. And now let's see how quiet these machines actually perform. And the crazy thing is, when you put these on the high speed, I feel like they actually run a little bit quieter. Like it's up and revved and running. Like it's gliding, like the blade is just gliding and it's quieter. Let's say 64 on the high speed. Now let's check the JRL Ghost on the high speed. So let's say it's about 65 on the high speed, which is pretty much the same thing. And none of these blades are oiled, and I took them off a bunch of times. Now here we go, TPOB Play on the high speed. So let's say we're getting 67 decibels on the high speed. These are still by far the quietest machines in the game. And I feel like the mic on the video does it no justice to how quiet they actually are. Now the TPOB Play claims it's the quietest motor in the industry at only 58 decibels. But here's the thing. I'm going to take the blades off and measure the motor and see how quiet it is, just for the TPOB Play, because if you take the blades off everything, the motors are super quiet. I'll take the blades off the loudest machine, and when you just had the motor not having to move blades around, it's going to be super quiet. But let's just see how high it is on the low setting. So that's where that 58 decibels really comes from, because it's coming in at about 57. But I just want to show you something. Here's the loudest thing you've ever heard when it comes to liners, right? 85 decibels. This is a Babyliss boost trimmer. When I take the blades off this, listen to this motor. $52. So now, how much do these machines cost? At the time of this video, on the JRL website, they cost $195 for either the Onyx or the Ghost. The TPOB Play, at the time of this video, on the website, costs $134.95. But I will say this, TPOB is running sales all the time. I got this machine for $80, like I said earlier. He's always doing 20% off, 30% off bundles. It's always on sale on Amazon, so you can always get this machine at a cheap price. And if you're reluctant to try out a new brand and new machine, it's something that it won't hurt your pocket. You could get it for cheap. And even if it's not your daily machine, it's something that's so quiet and smooth to use. It's great for kids as well. If you have kids that are sensitive to sounds and they don't like the loud clipper in their ear, then I would say get the TPOB. And then if you want to maybe venture a little bit deeper into it, then you go with one of the JRLs. But I think the JRL is the people that had it first, and they have a whole bunch of innovative stuff on their website. It's pretty cool. Now, what accessories come with these machines? When you buy the JRL clipper by itself, it'll come with the charging stands with the Reset IQ technology. It will come with a set of clips going up to the number 8 guard. Now these clips, The plastic is good, but they're a little tight to get on. They work well, but you might wind up using whatever clips you have, like the Wall, the Babyliss, the Stylecraft that are compatible with this. You might use your existing clips when it comes to this machine. Also comes with, of course, oil, a little duster, charging cord, screwdriver. The zero gapping tool, basically how to use this. Loosen up your blades about half a turn or so. Put some oil on this, or just spray some lubricant on it. Make sure your blades are closed. You slide it in between the cutting blade. You straighten everything out. Make sure this is pressed up. And then while holding the flick lever up, you tighten these blades and pull it out, and you'll see you have a fairly decent zero gap, and pretty quick too. TPOB comes with some of the exact same things. The oil, the duster, the zero gapper, the screwdriver, the clips with the TPOB, same exact thing. They only go up to a number 4 though. When you buy the JRL by itself, it comes up to number 8. The TPOB only goes up to number 4. Comes with the plug, and it comes with interchangeable rubber grips depending on which version you buy. Slime, this is the black and white edition, and you just have to undo those 2 screws there and then just slide the new on it. Also comes with the charging stand, no type of reset technology, and you can also change the plates on your clipper or your charging stand. So now we're going to tear it down. Now I wouldn't recommend taking these machines apart by any means. They are difficult to take apart, but it's pretty cool when you look inside. All right, so here we go. This is the front of the machine, and this is the JRL Ghost. So this is inside the JRL Ghost, and this is inside the TPOB Play. This is how they look like with the internals. Definitely a well-designed machine. So I'm going to put these back together, but before I put them back together, my final thoughts. Now, if you're going to go with JRL, then I would get the Onyx, because you can actually see when it tells you how much runtime you have left, and you can't see it on the Ghost. I know the white looks nice, but sooner or later, you can see this is already kind of a different color. Sooner or later, this is going to get yellow, and it's not going to look good. It'll look like an old pair of sneakers. So if you're going to go with the JRL, get the Onyx one. Now, in terms of if you want to go TPOB or JRL, you can go either way. Like I said, it's a preference of ergonomics, price, and the JRL motor seems to perform a little bit better than the TPOB one. So it's really your choice. After having them, I would spend a little more and go with the JRL, but I definitely will cop other TPOB products because the company knows the game and is delivering some solid products, and at a fair price that is causing the major companies to come down in price. That's pretty much it for these 2 machines. I probably have to do a separate video with the trimmer too. But let me know what you guys think of these 2 machines and the products. And I'm going to put these back together, and I'll see you next video.